Former Wales rugby captain Gareth Thomas posted an emotional video on social media yesterday saying he'd been the victim of a homophobic attack in his hometown of Cardiff. He said he was encouraged by police to talk to his teenager attacker rather than pressing charges.
I want to say thank you to the police who were involved and were very helpful and allowed me to do restorative justice with the people who did this, because I thought they could learn more that way than any other way. And also to the people of Cardiff who supported me and helped me.
Joining us now is Nigel Owens, international rugby referee and the first openly gay man to referee at that level. He too chose to use restorative justice after he was sent homophobic abuse on Twitter in 2015. Hello to you, Nigel. Thanks for joining us on the programme this afternoon. I mean, this was an absolutely shocking attack against Gareth. How surprised are you that this sort of offence continues?
I was a bit surprised and sad and disappointed, really, when I heard about it yesterday. But also, as well, on the other hand, not really surprised, because I know a lot of people I speak to who come across, and after being on Jeremy Fine's show this afternoon about it, I've had quite a few messages since then about people telling me that they've experienced the same thing. So it is something that is more common than maybe we think it is, or maybe more common than we like to think it is. And particularly if you have a profile and you're out and out in public as well, especially the profile that Gareth has, I think you can become then more of a target, I believe. And it's taken something like this maybe to everybody to be aware and to raise the awareness that it is an issue. And also not just an issue from a homophobic point of view, you know, because we are gay. Also for people from different ethnic background, different colour skin, different religious beliefs. This is something a lot of people have to put up with in every day of their lives, and it's something that you shouldn't have to. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is, your colour, your skin, your religious beliefs. None of this should matter at all. All that should matter is, if you're a decent human being, that you should be treated the same and allowed to get on with your life in society without the fear of having to deal with issues like this, which is very, very sad, really. And there's a fear that people have to live with, myself and Gareth included in that.
And 3 years ago, you were a victim of homophobic abuse, weren't you? It wasn't physical, but nevertheless, it was incredibly unpleasant.
It was very unpleasant. I wasn't aware of it until it was brought to my attention by the police who got in touch with me. It was made aware to them and then to me by a lot of people on social media who reported this young person. And it was after, and as a referee, you're used to getting abuse, because if you can't deal with the abuse, you can't do the job. And it was after the England-France game in Twickenham in 2015, in the Super Saturday Six Nations game, where this happened. And but it was quite personal and an unacceptable abuse as well. And it was brought to my attention by the police, and it was dealt with then in the same way that Gareth is dealing with this, because the slight difference here maybe, and I don't really know the background of what's happened to Gareth and how it's come about, but the young person who was from my area sent me a message on Facebook the day after, profoundly apologising for his actions and saying he was not that type of person. It was just a drunken moment, and he totally regrets it. And the police said then that you can deal with this in different ways, where he can be taken on, which means he'd have a criminal record if found guilty, which will stay with him for the rest of his life, or they deal with it the rest of the way that Gareth has done now, where the police will have a record of his actions, but he doesn't carry that record around with him. And because I thought he was sincere in his apologies, I agreed to meet up with him, and you could see that he was sincere and apologetic for what he had happened. And in fact, he was a very decent young man, and I think this then was the best way to deal with that. Now, the issue or the problem can be is there are some individuals out there, and I'm not saying that this is the case in Gareth's case whatsoever, but there are some individuals out there who are just nasty, nasty people, and sometimes by getting away with something, by just saying sorry, they feel, oh, we got away with this now, and there's not going to be any comebacks on me, and you don't know what type of person that is. But in my case, this person was a genuine person who was genuinely sorry and would have learned by that, and I think that was the right way to deal with it in a young person who had just made a stupid mistake at the time. Now, not every case is like that, so it's up to the police then and Gareth to deal with this in the appropriate way that they think is the best way.
Yeah,
taking into account of, you know, type of young person that person is.
Absolutely. A big man, as you were, for agreeing that restorative justice was the way forward. He was very brave to come out when he did back in, it was some years ago now, isn't it? I can't remember the exact year. Are you surprised, though, Nigel, that so few elite sports personalities and sportsmen and women have come out?
Am I surprised that not many have come out?
So since that happened, and there were some suggestions that potentially that would open the floodgates and more people who are elite sports personalities would feel that, okay, you know what, he's done that, I feel comfortable enough to do the same. But it just hasn't happened, has it?
No, it hasn't. And I think there's a couple of reasons as well. There's a couple of reasons. One reason that we must not overlook is, in my case, and in Gareth's case, I'm pretty sure it's quite similar. In my case, you know, I was dealing with my sexuality. I was becoming somebody I didn't want to be. I didn't know nothing about being gay. I was 19, 20 years of age before I experienced it. And I was fighting against it and put me in a very, very dark place. And the only way that I accepted my sexuality at 26 years of age was that I tried to take my own life one night and landed up in hospital in intensive care for a couple of days. And, you know, and the doctor said, look, another 20 minutes, it'd have been too late to save you. And my mum and people came to visit, and my mum said to me, look, if you ever do anything like that again, then you may as well take me and your dad with you, because we don't want to live our life without you. And, you know, that's something that I have to live with for the rest of my life. But that is when I accepted my sexuality, because I had that second chance. So a lot of people are dealing with their sexuality and trying to accept it themselves. So until they can accept it themselves, they are not able then to come out and be themselves. But also as well, which goes hand in hand, is when the environment is not accepting, you know, although rugby and I'm sure all the other sports, including football, when somebody comes out in football, will accept, and we've seen that, or the message of support that Gareth has had over the last 24, 48 hours has been massive, massive majority of support. But when you have things like this rising their head, it does hinder people who are scared of coming out, because they are worried how people are going to perceive them and how they're going to be able to get on with your life. Because there is no doubt about it that your life is more difficult, I think, and this has proven that, you know. And what we want is to see that the majority of people are supportive, and that these sort of nasty people are in the minority. But there is too much of the minority at the moment, and we just need to make that less and less and less. So I think there's quite a few reasons why people do not come out, and I think this is not helping the reason, where people are still thinking, well, look, it's still not safe to come out, because we've just seen a Welsh legend and a Lions legend and captain just being, you know, beaten up on the weekend for his sexuality, which is totally unacceptable. And that is something that nobody should have to put up with, whether it's your sexuality, your color of your skin, your religious beliefs, you come from a different country, you should be able to live your life the same way as everybody else. Absolutely. And be respected and treated as everybody else.
Good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for taking the time. We do appreciate it. Thank you.